Hey guys, so I found this recipe a few Easters ago and it is absolutely amazing. They are to die for blueberry muffins. It's on all recipes. If you're looking for a good blueberry muffin recipe and don't care if it's incredibly, not the best recipe, special occasions, things like that, I'd highly recommend it. It's delicious. I'll link it below. But I'm craving these muffins and I don't want to eat them the way that they are now. So I'm going to kind of go through and show you guys a few things that you can change to make a recipe healthier and still enjoy that recipe. Now the first ingredient was 1.5 cups of white flour. What I'm going to do in place of the white flour is use some whole wheat flour. I'm also going to use some flax and some almond meal. I'm going to just supplement. You can also use a gluten-free flour. The one that I like to use is like our Bonzo flour, really just whatever you like. Here is what I've done with the flour. I basically just split it up into thirds. I found that baking with whole wheat flour, you need a little bit less than you do with white flour. The almond meal seems to be kind of like an even wash, just about at least, and the flax you need a little bit more. So I kept it even thirds. It called for 1.5 cups of the white flour, so I did a half, a half, and a half. And these two here, the flax and the whole wheat flour, kind of balance each other out. The next ingredient is the white sugar, and in place of 3/4 cup of white sugar, I am going to be using about 1/2 cup of honey. I am going to keep the salt and the baking powder the same and move on to the oil. It's a vegetable oil. And in place of the vegetable oil, I'm going to be using some coconut oil. This is regular, everyday good old coconut oil. I've melted it down. Next ingredient is an egg, and I just left the egg as is. I have no problems with eggs. I think they're fantastic. Now, 1/3 cup of milk, and you can use any kind of milk you want. I am going to be using an unsweetened almond milk, but you could use coconut milk, you could use, you could use cow's milk. You can use whatever you want here. So you can oftentimes substitute with just water. So anyhow, I'm going to add my milk and then move on to my blueberries. The recipe calls for fresh blueberries, however, all I have are frozen, so I'm going to be using frozen. I'm putting them in a colander and I'm going to run them under some cool water to kind of defrost them a bit. If you put them in the muffins as is, which is frozen, the muffins cook unevenly, take a really long time to cook. It's just best to, defrost them a bit beforehand. Once you have your batter all mixed up, you're going to follow the recipe just like and this can be for any recipe. I've added my blueberries, really quick stir. Now that I've got my muffins in the liners in the tin, I'm going to sprinkle them with some cinnamon instead of creating the crumble topping. Now don't get me wrong, that is one of my most favorite things ever, but it's full of, just packed full of sugar and, butter, and I'd rather eat yummy melty butter on my muffins instead of kind of mixed into the top. Now that they've been sprinkled with cinnamon, I'm going to throw them in the oven and bake them just like normal. These muffins, by the way, I just have to say, are absolutely amazing. Yeah, they're a little different. The texture is different. The taste is a little different, but they are amazing. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoy this and hopefully it can help you out. Don't be afraid to mix up ingredients. Bye, guys.